I wasn't really aware of Harley Quinn, the show, until I did some research on the most popular animated streaming shows of 2020, and then I forgot about it again until a very nice commenter brought it up. While I'm on the topic of comments, hey there, Purple. I finally checked out Clarence, and I'm gonna try to make something about it soon. But for now, I would love to talk your ear off about why Harley Quinn is so much more than the sum of its parts. If you're not familiar, Harley Quinn is an edgy adult animation show that premiered in 2019 as a streaming exclusive. The basic premise is that Harley Quinn breaks up with the Joker and works to establish her own supervillain career. Even now, I'm not crazy about how this show was promoted. The trailers tend to highlight graphic violence and how the characters say no-no words sometimes. And it's not that I dislike either of those aspects, but the show is so much more than that. It's also more than what some might see as a gimmicky premise that is just trying to find yet another way to rehash comic book characters that have been around for almost kind of a literal century. And there's no getting around the corpo angle here. Yes, this is yet another superhero cash-in property in the midst of a seemingly never-ending flood of cape content that has come to define contemporary mainstream entertainment. These characters are not new, and for as original as the show can be, some of its worst moments come from the unspoken rule that DC would never in a million years let a licensed product damage the brand integrity of their most valuable characters. But beyond all that, the show is excellent. Seriously, every time I worried that Harley Quinn, the show, would land in some terrible pitfall, it took another direction, often to my surprise and delight. Some of the story beats and scenarios are clever, the music actually feels distinct and exciting, and it skillfully touches on subject matter relevant to the real world without hitting you over the head or feeling like it's trying too hard to be progressive. The visuals are great, but for me, the writing takes the spotlight. It ends up being an ensemble comedy as well, which I did not expect one bit, and that structure is supported by some wonderful voice acting. My fears that there would be an overabundance of edgelord humor were unfounded. It's much smarter than that. In fact, I have here in my notes that Harley Quinn is more of a thoughtful character study than Star Trek Picard, which was promoted heavily on being just that, and then wasn't at all. I know that I'm late to the party on this show and that it already has a big established fan base, but just in case there's one person out there who's still feeling hesitant about jumping in, I want to say that Harley Quinn is worth watching, not just because it features a compelling and well-written female lead, and not just because it managed to make some very old characters and character dynamics feel somewhat fresh, but because, most of all, it's a great show. It's an example of how good animation can be more than its visuals, more than its premise, and more than the dusty IP that it's based on. Like She-Ra and Ernest et Celestine, Harley Quinn is good enough to stand on its own, outside of the cynical and heavily profit-motivated series of decisions that gave birth to it. And it's proof that audiences want smart, clever, and original entertainment, regardless of whether or not it's based on something with brand recognition. It's pretty good. I kept it short and quick. If you want a more in-depth look at the show's writing and messaging, I can pretty much guarantee that other people have covered that elsewhere, so just go take a look around. I will as well, because I'm curious to see that stuff too. But how are you doing? When was the last time you had some pancakes? I think you should go get yourself some pancakes. Unless you can't eat pancakes for some reason. Get yourself something nice. I think we all need to take more breaks.